Hey, welcome back to another episode from Life and Living Well. Happy New Year to everyone that listened to me this week. I hope that you are safe and your family and your friends. I hope that you keep doing what is the best thing to do for you. I hope you keep yourself safe at the same time. Yes, 2020 was a year of its own, and it's shaped our experience in collective way and in a different way. So my prayer for every one of us is, may 2021 be a year where we're able to fulfill our potential, when we have more freedom and opportunity to do so. Before I start the program this week, I wanted to quickly say that firstly, I have a book coming up very soon, and it's going to be on our website. So if you'd like to know, I will announce when the book is ready. Before then, I wanted to quickly say thank you for all your support throughout the 2020, and thank you for continued support for the platform. And thank you for the people that work behind, because it's my voice that you hear every week, but there's a few people that work behind that make it happen, and they support so many areas of the community to keep it going. And thank you so much for all that work you've been doing. And this community has been a massive blessing for me and the other people that able to participate in the community, as we become each other's teacher. And we are all students and we are all teachers. No one know everything enough to become a pessimistic, as Dr. Dia will say. And I certainly agree with him. And I thought that the best we can do is to use everything around us to be our teacher, including ourselves. Before I start the program, the podcast for this week, I wanted quickly to run up how we ended the year 2020. So if you take a note that for the month of December, I presented a podcast that's so different to what I've been presenting for the beginning of the year till the December. And the reason for that is to able to take our mind a bit about focus on how to do something to improve. Firstly, we are perfect the way we are already. But the question is, every day the sun comes, every day the night comes. Every day we eating, every day we sleep. So the same process that because we have a bath today doesn't mean I won't have bath tomorrow or shower tomorrow. Because I have shower today doesn't mean I won't have shower next week. So it's something that you have to keep yourself clean, and it's good for you, and it's good for everyone that have contact with you. So the same thing in using your experience, using what you try to develop in yourself. If you are not born with the financial knowledge, you are not born about relationship understanding, you are not born about understanding your emotion. It's something that you have to be taught or self-taught. A majority of people, in fact 80 or 90% of people, these are the things that they will learn from their own adult life. That's why it makes it more challenging. It will have been much more easier if everyone had the opportunity right from the bat, because the world that you live, the physical world that you live, is already creating its own customs how to live in. You don't have to fit in directly, but you have to be wise enough to choose and live your life in a way that doesn't extricate you completely and make you suffer unnecessarily. So what I'm saying to you is that yes, personal development is a word that is so big, because when you talk like personal development, you might be thinking there is end goal, that this is what you want to arrive, like you are running a marathon or you are driving a car to your house. Actually, no, it's something that you continue to work in yourself. Like you wake up today, you're going to have something to eat. Tomorrow, not because you eat today, so you won't eat tomorrow. You will still eat. And that's what Buddha called pain. So because you cannot really avoid that, but the only way you can do that is to find a way of embracing it and make it work for you. The same thing with personal development. The more you work on yourself, the more you understand a lot of things or few things, the less suffering you have to go through. So if you want to suffer less, take personal development serious, because you won't know everything. In fact, you probably will know 1% of everything you need to know. And that shows you that it's better to know 1% than know nothing. So because you will suffer anyway, and to minimize the suffering you have to have, it depends how much you know. There was a great sage that once said that my people perish because they lack foresight. How can you acquire foresight when you don't really know your strength and you don't know your weakness? And when you don't really fully understand why you do what you do, then you continue to do the same thing. And Albert Einstein said that it is insanity to keep doing the same thing and expect something different. If you want something different, you have to do totally something different. So before I start the podcast, quickly how we end 2020 is to talk about 4 different things that happen in our life. So we talk about a diary of a Joe, how he had an encounter with 4 siblings, and each one of them able to taught him 1 or 2 things about himself. So all these people that Joe met in his fictional story that I read in December 2020 is all about us. We all have all these 4 characters in us, but fortunately for us, we always have things that we call it preference. That is something that we really use. If you are a thinker, you probably use thinking all the time for everything in your life, and you forgot that you have other area of your life that you are not developing. Because you don't use it doesn't mean you don't have it. It's either you don't know how to develop it and you ignore it. And developing all this area of our life will actually allow us to live a life that is meaningful and less suffering. So if you are an emotional person, you probably know what you feel, and you might not be able to put it into words, but you can easily understand your emotions. And it doesn't mean you cannot reason. It doesn't mean you cannot think. It just means that is the thing that you always go to because it's comfortable for you. And every one of us have what is comfortable for us, what is not comfortable for us. And lastly, talk about fire. Others are talking about fire, and the fire shows us that we should not always let our emotions alone determine what we should do or what should we not do. And we should not always thinking about how things are going to come out. At the end, we don't take any action. We overanalyzing things, and then we stuck in idea. And Buddha said, idea that is manifested is better than idea that is not. So with fire taught us that once we have the idea in our mind, we should give it a try. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, great. If you learn 1 or 2 things on it, then you can move on and you don't need it to derail yourself unnecessarily. So fire taught us that tapping into our inner passion will allow us to take a step that will make a difference in our life. So, and then lastly is the heart. Heart shows us the reason why we have to be determined, persistent, and set goals. Because hardly can you achieve a long-term goals if you are not determined. Hardly can you achieve anything big or serious if you are not persistent. If you always giving up when things are tough, you are not going to achieve anything. And the Confucius that said that when it's so obvious that you cannot achieve a goals, don't change your goals. Change the process how you achieve that goals. I always have 3 goals for myself when I run marathon. So my marathon is number 1 goal, which is the most important goal for me, is to finish it. The second goal that I always set for my marathon is to finish certain time. And the third one is to enjoy it. So sometimes you have to find the balance between these three, because if you prioritize number 2 to finish certain time, you might actually hurt yourself and not able to finish the marathon, which is your most important thing for me at the time. And then you might not even enjoy it. But when it comes to challenges in some marathons that I've done in the past, I realized that sometimes I needed to sacrifice certain times that I want to finish, and I just focus on finish the marathon. Then I end up finish the marathon even much faster than the time that I set for myself, and I also enjoy the race. So this is what art shows us to do, to set goals, to be persistent and prioritize things. So we can spend hours busy on something that doesn't have value to our life, doesn't have values to people around us. We are just busy. So if I tell you that if you spend 3 hours and you get 30% of what you've done, and if you spend 10 hours and you get 10% of what you've done, many people will choose 3 hours to get 30%. But unfortunately, not everybody able to evaluate what they're doing. They just do it and they don't really think what values this brought to their life. So that was if I didn't able to explain in detail the benefit and the trait and the character of each fictional's characters in the story that I read in December, I used this January podcast, first week in January podcast, to explain it in a vivid detail. And that is that one. Firstly, so to start fresh for this week, the podcast, I'm going to make it a bit short because I already take a few time to summarize what we cover for the whole of December. So for this week, what I have for you, firstly, my name is Richard, and if you want to write to me, you can easily write to me at richard.anthony@lifeforlivingway.com, or you can write to me as richard@lifeforlivingway.info. If you'd like to know more about what Life for Living Way community does, you can check us out on our website at www.lifeforlivingway.info or www.lifeforlivingway.com. And if you have any question, you can reach me as well through the website. And thank you for listening. So what I have for us this week, I call it how to embrace your experience. How to embrace your experience of life. So it's common thing, but maybe you're already doing that. That's great. But just to remind you that whatever comes into your life, find a way how to embrace it. And the more you take the ownership of it, the easier and quicker you become free of the sting that comes from that experience. So let's get started. So the title of my podcast for you this week, I call it Love the Experience That Have Shaped You. So you started. So when you have learned to embrace the lesson the life has thrown to you and the experiences that have shaped you, sometimes it is remarkable how similar event has turned out different to people. You see 2 or 3 people go to different things, the same things, and they came out so different. You say one person became exactly the person that enjoyed them, and you saw another person arise above that thing and become more loving and lovable and empowered and confident and able to make a change in their own life and everyone around them. It always surprised and amazed how human beings were so vulnerable, we are so fragile indeed, even though we appear put together because of our job title, because of the responsibility of having family and all those things. But deep down, we are so sensitive that we can easily be hurt and damaged. But why is it that 2 people will experience similar events, regardless of their cultures or colors of their skin, but they turn out 2 different ways? One embrace it, one become victim of it, and they turn out to replicate exactly the thing that hurts them. So one obvious trait that we begin to show, in fact, two obvious traits that you will notice with people that embrace the challenges that the life have thrown them. Number one is resilience. There's no shortcut about it. Many few people that I've observed in my life, the thing that creates resilience for them is the environment, is the experiences that they have to confront. And the more they're able to smash it, the more they develop a more thick, resilient skin to them. I say this a lot with elite sportsmen and women, that all the time they set challenges when their bodies are reached the maximum. That is when they find something within themselves to keep going. It's amazing, but they do that. And you see that when they finish that particular thing, they collapse completely. But when you just watch them for 1 hour on your TV, or you go to the stadium to watch them playing or where they do what they do, you might take it for granted. But the hours and hours they put behind this thing is what created resilience for them, not the 1 hour that you watch it. So the same thing in our own life. The challenges, the difficulties, the up and down that you experience is the thing that creates resilience in your life. And once you have a resilience in one area of your life, that resilience will transcend into other areas of your life. So the second trait that I cannot be hide from people that have embraced the challenges that come to their life is what I call determination to make the best out of it. For some reason, some people develop a life purpose based on their own situation. Look at the Viktor Frankl during the despite the fact of atrocity that he experienced in the Holocaust. He came out of it by doing work that helping a lot of people. He walked toward his own anger, resentment, and it freed him to be able to create a life that even generations 75 years or 70 years after still benefit from Viktor Frankl work. And no wonder I come to conclusion and said, you cannot take everything from a man. When he has nothing to give any man, a man will stretch because of purpose that he developed. He will live for the purpose. So what I'm trying to say to you that your challenges will force you, if you haven't created or living a life of purpose, well, the more you embrace your life, you will realize that your happiness, your purpose of living was intentional, was purposeful. And this is what you will get from this, embracing your setback, your challenges. People of this caliber, they have transcended their experiences to more solid self-development in the area of their attitude and character. Confucius once stated that our greatest glory lies how many times we arise from failure. So we are not count or consider a strong person. We only consider a strong person how many times you bounce back every time you find yourself on the floor. But because I'm telling you, you will find yourself on the floor. If you want to make things in your life happen, if you want to connect, if you want to build something, if you want to create something, if you want to be different, you will find yourself on the floor. Because some people will embrace it, some people will reject it, some people will condemn, some people will promote you. But the more you walk around that, and you will know how to use your strength, who you should bring into your cycle, who you should work with. So oftentimes, our unpleasant experiences have higher value of lesson than our pleasant experiences. Resilience derives when we have learned how to embrace obstacle in our way to become part of the well. So like I was said earlier, once you learn to embrace anything on your life and become part of your life, you are free. You are free. You're no longer a participant in life. You don't control what happened to you, but you become a controller of how you react to it. Should you give up now, or should you change the direction and stay focused on your goal? So, like I said earlier, The professional elite, they embrace this stoic way of living life into day-to-day work, and it is the same to ordinary people. If you can take this to our life, it will help us. Look at the years of 2020 that we had. In 3 years before then, no one have predicted that the whole world will be brought to grounded, and it does. It did. And for me and you, so worry about what will happen tomorrow is not what I'm saying here. I'm saying that work on yourself, go inward, and the more you work on yourself, the more you work on your resilience, the more you work on your determination, that only working when you embrace the challenges that you face. If you face the financial challenges, don't run away from it. Seek help. If you don't know anything about financial before, that is fine. There's millions of people that they don't know. Get a book to read about it. And if it's more difficult, find a help from professional outside that can go through your debt, and then they can help you to define how to overcome those debts and become more free financially in 2021. And that is called courage, determination, and resilience. Resilience is not mean running away from your problem. It doesn't mean shy away from it. It doesn't mean abandon your financial responsibility. It means confronting it. You might not solve that problem in a month, in a week, in a year, but you will take a step that will solve that problem. With patience, one by one, you can smash through the mountain. So I hope this particular podcast for the year 2021 be a stepping stone for every one of us, including myself. And I hope this message helps someone. If you'd like to know more about Life for Living Well, you can check us up on our website at www.lifeforlivingwell.info or www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Once again, my name is Richard. Stay safe and Happy New Year. Welcome back to 2021. Bye. Thank you.